My child, I see the ache you have been carrying in silence. I see the nights when you lay awake and stared into the dark, trying to make sense of why the people you trusted pulled away, why the answers did not come, why the prayers felt like they were rising and then falling back into your own chest. I see the wound you do not speak about out loud, the one that says, maybe I was forgotten. Maybe I am the one who got left behind. Maybe what was promised to me is never coming. Beloved, I know how heavy that feels. I know how it weighs on your mind when you smile on the outside. But inside you are asking why your heart still hurts like this after all these years. You have been trying so hard to hold yourself together. You have told yourself to be strong, to keep moving, to stop thinking about what broke you. But broken things do not stop speaking just because you ask them to. The betrayal still echoes. The disappointment still sits in the room with you. The rejection still whispers when the house gets quiet. And somewhere along the way, you started wondering if maybe the reason you cannot shake this pain is because there is something wrong with you. No, my child. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling the weight of what was done to you. There is nothing weak about your tears. There is nothing shameful about the part of you that still longs for truth. I know the loneliness too. I know what it is to feel surrounded and yet unseen. I know what it is to be in a crowd and still feel like your name has been forgotten. I know the moment when you start to question everyone's motives. Why did they say that? Why did they disappear? Why did they smile to my face and wound me behind my back? Why did the person who promised to stay become the first one to leave? Beloved, those questions have been circling your heart for a long time, and you have not been foolish for asking them. You have been wounded. You have been searching for safety in places that could never truly protect you. And because the pain has been so loud, you have looked everywhere for relief. You have reached for signs in the sky, in numbers, in sudden feelings, in the little moments that seem to whisper, maybe today is the day. You have tried to manifest a better outcome. You have repeated words, made declarations, watched videos, searched messages, followed patterns, and listened for anything that might tell you your life is finally turning. I understand why. When a heart is hungry for hope, it will try anything that promises light. But my child, not every light is mine. Not every door that opens is meant for you. Not every sign you find is truth. And not every path that feels comforting will lead you home. You were never meant to survive by chasing fragments. You were never meant to build your peace on guessing games. You were never meant to live at the mercy of luck, chance, or spiritual noise. I did not create you to be tormented by uncertainty. I created you to hear my voice, to walk with me, to rest in the knowledge that I am not confused about your life even when you are. Beloved, what you have been calling delay is often protection. What you have been calling silence is often my hand keeping you from what would have destroyed you. And what you have been calling hidden is about to be brought into the open. Yes, my child, what they never wanted you to know is being revealed. The things spoken in secret are not staying buried forever. The motives behind the smiles. The deception behind the story. The manipulation behind the decisions. The truth they edited, twisted, and hid is not beyond my sight. I have been watching every scene. I have been present in every room you were excluded from, every conversation you were not invited into, every lie told to paint you as the problem. I know who said what. I know who agreed in silence. I know who benefited from your confusion. And I know the part of your heart that has been begging me to expose it all. Beloved, I hear that prayer. I have not ignored it. But listen carefully, my child, because revelation is not always gentle before it is healing. Sometimes truth arrives like light in a room where people thought the curtains would stay shut forever. It exposes. It unsettles. It shakes loose what was built on lies. And though the shaking feels uncomfortable, it is mercy. Because what is false cannot heal you. What is hidden cannot guide you. What is rooted in darkness cannot be trusted with your future. So yes, the revealing has begun. Quietly at first. In small ways. In things that did not add up. In words that contradicted each other. In details that slipped out, in the shifting of attitudes, in the cracks that appeared where they thought no one would notice. You noticed, though, didn't you? You always noticed more than people gave you credit for. Even when you said nothing, your spirit knew. Even when you tried to dismiss the uneasy feeling, it kept returning. That was not paranoia. That was discernment. That was my spirit alerting you that something was off. But because you wanted to believe the best, because you loved deeply, because you did not want to accuse without proof, you kept giving room, kept hoping, kept forgiving, kept waiting. There is nothing wrong with that tenderness, my child. I made your heart capable of compassion. Yet compassion was never meant to make you blind. Now the fog is lifting. Now the patterns are becoming impossible to ignore. Now what was covered is being uncovered. And I need you to understand something important. The exposure is not happening because you finally figured everything out. It is happening because I set the time. I am the one who brings hidden things into the light. I am the God who sees in secret and rewards openly. I am the judge who cannot be bribed, the shepherd who cannot be fooled, the king who does not sleep. There is no corner of your story where I was absent. There is no betrayal I did not witness. There is no tear I did not count. There is no plan formed against you that escaped my hand. My child, you have been tempted to think that because you did not stop them in time, you somehow failed. But you were never meant to be the one holding the whole battle together. You were carrying too much. You were trying to protect relationships, protect your peace, protect your dignity, protect your future, all while your soul was bleeding. That was never the burden I asked you to carry alone. I asked you to trust me, not with a shallow trust, not with a rehearsed trust, but with the kind of trust that hands over what you cannot control and believes I am still God in the middle of it. And I know that is hard when you have been disappointed. I know it is hard when you prayed and the answer did not come in the form you expected. I know it is hard when you watched others move ahead while you stood still. I know it is hard when every door seemed to close just as you reached for the handle. But beloved, I have not been punishing you. I have been positioning you. There were things in your path that would have fed on your vulnerability. There were people who would have used your kindness. There were environments that would have trained you to doubt your own worth. I kept you from some of those things, even when you thought I was withholding good from you. What looked like denial was sometimes divine rescue. You have asked, Lord, why did they get away with it? Why did they lie and still prosper? Why did they leave me with the pain while they seemed untouched? My child, do not mistake visible ease for hidden peace. Do not confuse delay in judgment with absence of justice. I am patient, but I am not passive. I am silent for a season, but I am never absent. The thing done in darkness always stands under the watch of heaven. The seed of deception always brings a harvest. And when that harvest comes, it does not announce itself with warning to the one who planted it. That is why it seems sudden. That is why it looks like everything is unraveling at once. Truth has a way of arriving after lies have grown tired of pretending. Beloved, some of what you are seeing now is not random. It is the beginning of a tearing away of false coverings. People who depended on confusion to keep control are finding that confusion no longer holds. Stories are not matching. Claims are collapsing. Hidden motives are surfacing. Alliances are shifting. The very things they thought would stay tucked away are slipping out into the open. And I want you to resist the urge to chase every detail and panic. You do not need to investigate every shadow. You do not need to force every answer. Stay with me. Stay near my voice. I will show you what you need to know when you need to know it. I will not leave you guessing forever. I know how badly you want everything explained right now. I know you want names, reasons, timelines, proof. I know you want to understand why you were chosen for that pain, why certain doors closed, why certain people entered, why certain opportunities vanished, why you had to endure what you did. Beloved, not every answer will satisfy your emotions, but every answer I allow will serve your healing. Some things were permitted to reveal where trust was misplaced. Some things were allowed to expose the condition of hearts around you. Some things were necessary to detach you from what would have kept you stuck in a smaller story than the one I wrote for you. You have been asking me for clarity, but part of the clarity you need is this. Not everyone who spoke into your life was sent by me. Not everyone who stood near you was standing with you. Not every delay was demonic, and not every disappointment was random. Some of what hurt you was betrayal. Some of what delayed you was preparation. Some of what felt like loss was a door closing on a counterfeit future. Beloved, I know that is difficult to accept when you were emotionally invested in what you thought was next. But what I remove because I love you. What I expose because I want to save you from deeper pain. You may feel like the truth came late. You may feel like if you had known sooner, you could have avoided so much grief. But hear me, my child. Even if you had known sooner, you may not have been ready to release it then. Truth is not only about information. It is about timing. And when the human heart is still attached to what is false, even the truth can feel offensive. That is why I wait until hearts are able to bear the weight of what must be seen. You are stronger now than you were in the beginning. You have survived what you did not think you could survive. You have learned how to keep breathing when your world felt like it was collapsing. You have learned how to pray through tears. You have learned how to worship with a cracked heart. That is why you can hear this now. My child, I am not only exposing what was done to you, I am also exposing what has been happening inside you. The places where fear has been quietly ruling. The places where shame has been shaping your choices. The places where disappointment made you expect the worst before it happened. I am bringing those inner rooms into the light, too, because I do not just want to vindicate you. I want to heal you. I do not want you to leave this season carrying the memory of betrayal without the freedom of truth. I do not want your past to become your identity. I do not want your wound to become your worldview. There are moments when the pain has made you want to withdraw from everyone. You have thought, if I trust no one, I cannot be hurt again. But my child, isolation is a thief too. It may feel safe, but it quietly starves your soul. I did not design you to live behind walls forever. I designed you to belong to me first, and then to walk in wisdom with the people I appoint. That means not everyone gets access. It means boundaries matter. It means discernment matters. It means you can forgive without reopening the door to what harmed you. You do not have to be available to every voice that calls your name. I am teaching you how to see clearly again, not with suspicion, not with naivety, with wisdom. There is a difference. Suspicion assumes everyone is guilty. Naivety assumes everyone is safe. Wisdom listens, watches, waits, and asks me to reveal what is true. Wisdom does not need to panic. Wisdom does not need to force closeness. Wisdom knows that I can expose what needs exposing without you losing your peace in the process. So breathe, beloved. What has been hidden is coming out, and what is coming out will show you why certain doors stayed shut, why certain things never settled, why certain relationships never had the depth they promised. I know some of you watching right now have been sitting with a secret heartbreak nobody knows about. You have been the strong one, the dependable one, the one who keeps showing up. But inside, you are tired of pretending you are fine. You are tired of acting like the silence does not bother you. You are tired of pretending the betrayal did not change you. You are tired of seeing other people celebrated while your own story feels buried. My child, I have seen all of it. I have seen the tears you wiped away before anyone could notice. I have seen the words you never posted, the messages you never sent, the questions you never dared to ask because you were afraid of the answer. And now, because I love you, I am not leaving you in the dark with this any longer. The revelation may not come all at once, but it is coming. A message, a slip, a pattern, a confession, a document, a door opened at the right time, a conversation that changes everything. The evidence is gathering. The veil is thinning. The thing they tried to keep out of sight is rising to the surface. Not to crush you, my child, but to free you from the burden of wondering. You will not always have to guess. You will not always have to carry the uneasy feeling without confirmation. I am leading you into truth, and truth, when received with me, becomes a doorway to peace. But I must tell you this too. When hidden things are exposed, not everyone celebrates. Some will deny. Some will deflect. Some will accuse you of being too sensitive, too suspicious, too emotional, too late. Do not let their reaction make you doubt what I have shown you. A liar hates light. A manipulator loves confusion. A person who benefited from your silence will not applaud your awakening. That does not mean you are wrong. It means the exposure is real. Stand steady. Do not rush to defend yourself before I have finished speaking. Let me vindicate you in the way that only I can. My child, there is a holy kind of sorrow that comes when truth breaks open a false peace. It can feel like grief, because you are mourning what you thought was true. That mourning is real. Do not shame it. But do not let it harden into despair either. This is not the end of your story. This is the removal of what could not go with you. I am not merely taking things apart. I am rebuilding your life on truth. And truth may take away some comfort at first, but it always gives back something better: stability, peace, clarity, and freedom. You have been asking me for a breakthrough, but perhaps what you needed first was a revealing. Because breakthrough without discernment can send you back into the same trap wearing a different face. Revelation is how I protect your next step. Revelation is how I break the cycle. Revelation is how I stop you from repeating what wounded you. When I show you what was really happening, I am not trying to humiliate you. I am trying to heal your sight. I am trying to restore your confidence in my leading. I am trying to teach you that you do not have to live confused anymore. Beloved, I want you to know that I am also revealing the value of your prayers. You thought some of them went unheard because you did not see immediate change. But I kept every prayer, every tearful plea, every whispered, "Help me," every exhausted, "Lord, I cannot do this alone," every broken, "Please show me what is true." I kept them, and I am answering them in layers. First by exposing what was false, then by strengthening what is true, then by bringing you into a season where you will no longer be easily deceived because you have seen my faithfulness in the middle of the unraveling. Stay with me, my child. Do not let the noise around you pull you away from what I am doing. If your heart has been racing, slow down and breathe with me. If your mind has been spinning, place it in my hands. If you have been tempted to run ahead and fix everything yourself, pause. I am already in the next scene. I am already preparing the outcome. I am already working in places you cannot see. The revelation is not the end of the battle, but it is the turning point. Darkness hates being named. Lies hate being examined. And what they never wanted you to know is being revealed because I have decided the hidden season has gone on long enough. My child, I am near you now. I have not moved away. I have not changed my mind. I have not forgotten your name, your tears, your history, or your future. I am the God who sees what others missed. I am the God who hears what was whispered behind your back. I am the God who knows the truth before it reaches your ears. And I am telling you, with love and with authority, the time of covering is ending. The time of fog is ending. The time of confusion is ending. What was done in secret is being brought into the light, and I will use that light to guide you out, to heal you deeply, and to place you exactly where you belong. My child, I want you to understand something tender and true. The traps were not always obvious when you stepped near them. Sometimes they looked like relief. Sometimes they sounded like opportunity. Sometimes they appeared just when you were exhausted enough to say yes to almost anything that promised peace. I know why your heart reached. I know why you kept hoping. I know why you wanted one door, one answer, one breakthrough to stop the pressure that had been closing in on you from every side. Fear makes people desperate, beloved. Pressure can make a strong person feel weak. And when trust has been broken, even a good heart starts looking for shortcuts to safety. I am not speaking to you with condemnation. I am speaking to you with understanding. You did not fall into every trap because you were careless. Some of those traps were dressed in comfort because your soul was tired of fighting. Some of them were wrapped in urgency because fear is always trying to rush what faith would wait on. Some of them came with promises that sounded practical because the weight of your circumstances made you want something you could touch, something you could control, something that would finally quiet the panic inside you. Beloved, I know how the human heart can go after anything that feels like rescue when it has been hurt long. Enough. There were times you were not only scared. You were cornered. Cornered by bills. Cornered by silence. Cornered by unanswered questions. Cornered by the feeling that if something did not change soon, you might break under the weight of it all. That is when people start making decisions from survival instead of surrender. That is when they start trying to force open what I have not opened yet. That is when they start reaching for signs, patterns, and self-made guarantees because the waiting feels unbearable. My child, I understand the temptation, but I also know the end of every path that is built on fear. It may promise relief, but it collects a deeper debt later. You have asked yourself, why did I trust that person? Why did I ignore the warning? Why did I keep believing the story even when something felt off? Beloved, the answer is not always simple, but it is honest. Sometimes fear makes you grab the nearest hand. Sometimes broken trust makes you crave reassurance so badly that you ignore the cost of receiving it from the wrong source. Sometimes pride steps in quietly and says, I do not need help. I can figure this out. I can hold it together. I can save myself. And that, my child, is how the soul gets pulled off center. Not always by rebellion. Often by pain. Often by pressure. Often by the subtle lie that says, if you do not control this, everything will fall apart. But I am telling you now, everything was never resting on your shoulders to begin with. It was never your job to keep the whole house from collapsing. It was never your job to know every answer, fix every person, or make every outcome work in your favor. You were carrying burdens that were too heavy because you believed silence meant abandonment. You believed delay meant denial. You believed the lack of visible movement meant I had stepped back. Beloved, I was working in what you could not see. Even in the places where your trust wavered, I was still steady. Even in the places where you made fearful choices, I was still able to redeem. Even in the places where pride tried to protect you, I was still patient enough to teach you. Look at Job, my child. Remember him. He was not punished for being wicked. He was pressed through a season that exposed both his sorrow and his misunderstanding. He lost what made his life feel stable. He lost the visible evidence of blessing. He sat in dust and ash while others watched from a distance and tried to make sense of what had happened. Some assumed his pain meant hidden sin. Some spoke from ignorance. Some could only see the disaster and not the conversation in heaven they were never allowed to hear. But I saw the integrity that was tested. I saw the grief that had no language. I saw the tears that fell when no one else was there to count them. And I brought him through not only with restored possessions, but with a deeper knowing of who I am. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. You have felt like Job in ways you do not always admit. You have sat with questions that seem to have no clean answer. You have wondered how much more your heart could take. You have watched pieces of your life be stripped away and wondered whether heaven had forgotten your name. But beloved, the very place that felt like collapse became the place where my hand was most clearly at work. Job did not understand the entire battle, but he discovered that I was still God when everything he could count on changed. That is what I am revealing to you now. Not just answers, but myself. Not just information, but presence. And then there is Joseph. My child, Joseph knew what it was to be betrayed by those closest to him. He was sold by brothers who should have protected him. He was misunderstood in the house of authority. He was falsely accused when he kept his integrity. He was forgotten by someone he helped in a prison where time seemed to stand still. You know what it is to be overlooked after doing what was right, don't you? You know what it is to wonder why obedience did not seem to protect you from pain. Joseph lived through long stretches where the promise seemed buried under delay, and yet every betrayal became part of the road to the place I had chosen for him. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. What Joseph did not see in the pit, in the prison, and in the silence was that I was arranging a future no enemy could stop. Every wrong turn in the eyes of man was a stepping stone in my sovereign hand. Every closed door, every unjust accusation, every lonely season was shaping the man who would one day carry wisdom, compassion, and authority. My child, your season has not been wasted. The things that cut you deep did not cancel your calling. The things that made you weep did not erase your future. The pit was not your end. The prison was not your identity. The delay was not the denial of my promise. Joseph learned to stay faithful when no one clapped. That same faithfulness is being formed in you now. You may have felt at times like you were passed over while others were promoted. That kind of pain can stir envy, bitterness, or self-doubt if it is left unattended. But I am healing that place in you too. You do not need to compare your timing to someone else's. Joseph's road was not shorter because it was meant to be different. Yours is not less meaningful because it has taken longer. I am not late. I am never late. I am precise. I am exact. I know what must be developed in you before the door opens. I know what kind of strength your next season requires. And I know that the same favor that carried Joseph is carrying you. Consider David, my child. He was anointed long before he sat on the throne. Long before he was seen as king, he was unseen in the field. Long before the crown, there was a shepherd's staff. Long before public honor, there was private faithfulness. And then there was Saul's jealousy, pursuit, and hostility. David was called, yet hunted, promised, yet pressured, chosen, yet misunderstood. Many of you know that tension all too well. You know what it is to know there is more on your life than your current reality shows, and yet to still be surrounded by resistance. David spent seasons hiding in caves while the promise of kingship seemed impossible to the natural eye. But the cave was not the cancellation. It was the classroom. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. David learned how to seek me when he could not secure himself. He learned how to strengthen himself in me when others were against him. He learned how to worship in the wilderness, how to repent when he was wrong, how to wait when he was hunted, how to trust when the path made no earthly sense. That is why I called him a man after my own heart. Not because he never stumbled, but because he kept returning to me. Beloved, you have stumbled too. You have had moments when fear spoke louder than faith. You have had moments when pressure led you to choices you would not make again. But if your heart keeps turning back to me, then you are not disqualified. You are being refined. And Moses. Think of Moses, my child. He was raised in a palace, but carried the identity of an enslaved people. He knew what it was to be between worlds, not fully belonging to either one. He knew the weight of responsibility when he stood before a power larger than himself. He knew what it was to feel inadequate, slow of speech, and overwhelmed by the task placed before him. When I called him to lead, he did not feel ready. He tried to argue. He tried to explain his limitations. He tried to focus on the reasons he could not. But I did not choose Moses because he was self-sufficient. I chose him because my power would be made known through his weakness. I did this for him, and I am doing it for you. You have told yourself, Lord, I am not strong enough for this. I do not have the right connections. I do not have enough money. I do not have enough confidence. I do not have enough clarity. I do not have enough experience. My child, Moses said things like that too. And I did not withdraw my calling because of his fear. I answered it with my presence. I gave him signs. I gave him instruction. I gave him words to speak. I gave him a rod that would become a witness to my power. Beloved, I am not asking you to become a different person to be used by me. I am asking you to let me meet you where you are and lead you beyond what you can do alone. This is why the traps have been so hard to see. Fear narrows vision. When fear rises, the soul stops asking, "Is this from God?" and starts asking, "Will this relieve me now?" That question is where many mistakes are born, not because the heart is evil, but because it is desperate. Financial pressure can do that. It can make a person accept what they know does not sit right, because the clock in the bank account seems louder than the quiet voice of wisdom. Broken trust can do that too. When you have been let down enough, you start wanting certainty so badly that you overlook the subtle compromise in front of you. And pride, even when it looks like strength, can whisper, "I can handle this my way. I do not need to wait. I do not need to ask. I do not need to surrender." Beloved, each of these has a way of opening the door to confusion. But my love is already moving against what tried to capture you. I am not only exposing the outside traps. I am healing the inner places that made the traps feel attractive. I am dealing with the fear that makes you rush. I am dealing with the wound that makes you cling. I am dealing with the pride that makes you resist help. I am dealing with the hidden panic that says, "If I do not secure my future myself, no one will." Hear me, my child. Your future is not secured by your ability to control it. It is secured by my faithfulness. You have been through enough to think you should be able to protect yourself from ever being fooled again. But if you live in a constant state of self-defense, you will miss the gentle leading of my spirit. I am not calling you to reckless trust. I am calling you to surrendered wisdom. There is a difference. Surrender does not mean you stop discerning. It means you stop pretending that you are your own savior. Wisdom does not mean you become cold. It means you stop letting hurt choose your relationships. It means you ask me before you give your heart away again. It means you move slowly where your emotions want to run. It means you honor the lessons without letting the lessons become a prison. And beloved, I need to speak to the part of you that feels embarrassed about how long it took to see what was really happening. Do not let shame become a second wound. Some of the hardest deceptions are only exposed after a long season because they were fed by trust, familiarity, timing, and pressure. That does not make you foolish. It makes you human. It means the enemy chose a vulnerable moment to disguise the lie. But I am the one who restores what deception damaged. I am the one who can make you wiser without making you cynical. I am the one who can teach you to recognize fruit, not just words. I am the one who can help you rebuild confidence in your own discernment because you will learn to lean on me. There were moments when your heart wanted to believe because believing felt easier than facing the truth. I know. Truth can hurt before it heals. The idea that someone was not who they claimed to be can shake your sense of safety. The realization that a situation was built on instability can feel like the floor moving under your feet. But listen to me, my child. What is real cannot be destroyed by being named. What is false cannot be strengthened by being ignored. So when the truth comes, let it come. Let it do its work. Let it separate what is lasting from what was never meant to remain. Some of you have been carrying the memory of being used. Used for labor. Used for attention. Used for money. Used for emotional support. Used as a placeholder until something better came along. Beloved, I know how that has shaped the way you see people now. But I want to redeem your view without making you naive. Not every person is your enemy. Not every kindness is manipulation. Not every delay is rejection. I am teaching you how to tell the difference. And that kind of learning takes time because it is not merely about information. It is about healing. The hidden things being revealed now are not only about what others did. They are also about what I am doing in you through what was done. Do not despise this process. It is stripping away the false need to please everyone. It is breaking the illusion that approval from people can keep you safe. It is showing you where you relied on human consistency more than divine covering. It is teaching you that your peace cannot be borrowed from unstable hands. Your peace must come from my presence. That is why you have felt unrest around certain people and situations. I was warning you. I was protecting you. I was nudging you toward truth before the collapse became complete. And yes, my child, some of the people you thought were strongest were actually the most unstable. Some of the voices that sounded certain were the least rooted in truth. Some of the ones who spoke about your future did not understand the battle over your future at all. That is why you need me more than you need the opinions of others. Human insight can see a piece. I see the whole. Human wisdom can observe behavior. I know motive. Human courage can face a moment. I govern the season. So when you feel the urge to keep asking everyone else what they think, return to me first. Let my voice be louder than your fear. I am showing you the patterns, beloved, the cycles, the repeated disappointments, the familiar setup of almost, but not yet, the recurring relational fractures, the way hope rose and then got cut down, the way money pressure turned every decision into a test, the way you started expecting loss because loss had visited so often. These patterns are not your destiny. They are the battleground where I am breaking agreement. But you must stop calling every repetition proof that nothing will ever change. It is often the last flare-up before healing takes root. Think again of Israel in the wilderness. They were not out there because I did not have power to bring them quickly. They were there because I was forming a people who had to learn dependence after generations of bondage. The journey revealed what was still inside them. Fear, complaining, resistance, desire to return to what was familiar, even when what was familiar was slavery. My child, some of the traps you fell into were born from that same human longing for the familiar, even when it was unhealthy. The soul often reaches for what it knows. That is why transformation requires more than good intentions. It requires my presence reshaping your desires. Beloved, do not be discouraged when you see how deep some of these things go. The depth is not to shame you. It is to show you how thoroughly I am healing you. You are not just getting a momentary fix. You are being delivered from old systems of fear and lack. You are being trained to hear me in the middle of uncertainty. You are being taught to move without panic. You are being taught to wait without despair. You are being taught to recognize counterfeit peace from the real peace that comes from me. I know you wanted the exposure to happen sooner. I know you wanted to be vindicated before the damage spread. I know you wanted the truth to arrive before your heart got tired. But my child, even now, I am using the timing to reveal not just what was hidden, but who I am in the middle of it. I am revealing myself as defender, provider, shepherd, judge, father, restorer, the one who can gather up the broken pieces and make them part of a greater testimony, the one who can turn what was meant for shame into an altar of grace. And I tell you again, as surely as I told Job, Joseph, David, and Moses, I did this for them, and I am doing it for you. I did not abandon Job in his ashes. I did not forget Joseph in his prison. I did not dismiss David in the cave. I did not reject Moses because he felt unqualified. And I have not abandoned you in your waiting, your heartbreak, your pressure, or your confusion. The same hand that carried them is carrying you. The same wisdom that ordered their steps is ordering yours. The same mercy that met them in their weakness is meeting you now. You are not outside the reach of my faithfulness. You are standing in it, even if your feelings have not caught up yet. So when the revelations keep coming, do not let your heart collapse into fear. When the truth keeps unfolding, do not assume it means only loss. Some things will fall away. Yes, some connections will end. Some assumptions will die. But what remains will be stronger because it will be real. And what is real is where I build. What is real is where I dwell. What is real is where peace can live without pretending. My child, stay near. The next part of this unveiling will show you more than what was wrong. It will show you where I have been all along, in every shadow, in every delay, in every closed gate, and in every moment you thought you were alone. My child, I know what your days have felt like lately. I know the weight of waking up and realizing the same problem is still there. I know the strange ache of looking at your phone and not seeing the message you hoped would come. I know the humiliation of a job loss that seemed to come out of nowhere, the panic of checking the bank account and feeling your stomach tighten, the strain of sitting at a kitchen table with papers in front of you that changed the shape of your whole life. I know the quiet devastation of a divorce, when the person you once built dreams with is now a stranger standing across from you in court or sitting across from you in silence. I know the fear that comes with a diagnosis, the way one sentence from a doctor can make the whole room feel smaller. I know the tears you hide when you are in the bathroom at night, because everyone else is asleep and you do not want them to hear how badly you are breaking. Beloved, you have been carrying more than people realize. Some of you have had to smile in public while your heart was collapsing in private. Some of you have had to answer work emails while grieving what happened at home. Some of you have had to show up for your children, your parents, your responsibilities, even while your own spirit felt like it was slipping through your fingers. You have been stretched thin by betrayal that came from someone you trusted. You have been confused by relationships that changed without warning. You have been exhausted by sleepless nights where your body was in bed, but your mind was running through every what if and every if only. My child, I see the tears that fall onto your pillow after midnight. I see the way your chest tightens when you hear a familiar name. I see the fear that tries to rise when you think about tomorrow. There are some of you listening right now who feel like your whole life has been interrupted. You had plans. You had a rhythm. You had a picture of what the next year was supposed to look like. Then everything shifted. A relationship ended. A door shut. A person changed. A doctor called. A manager made a decision. A sibling betrayed your trust. A spouse grew cold. A child wandered. A friend disappeared. Beloved, these kinds of losses do not only affect your schedule. They affect your sense of identity. They make you ask, who am I if this does not work out? Who am I if I do not get the house, the job, the healing, the reconciliation, the answer? That question can shake a soul to its core. But I am speaking to the part of you that still belongs to me, even when everything else feels unstable. You have been tempted to believe that the delay itself was the problem. You looked at the calendar and thought, if it had happened sooner, maybe I would not be so tired. If it had happened already, maybe I would not have lost so much. If God were truly blessing me, surely I would not still be waiting. Beloved, I need you to be still for a moment and hear me. Breathe. Quiet your heart. What felt like delay was often preparation. What felt like obstruction was often mercy. What felt like abandonment was often me doing hidden work in places you could not see and could not rush. There are seasons where I am not just bringing you somewhere. I am building something inside you that must exist before you arrive. If the opportunity came before the preparation, it would crush you instead of bless you. If the open door came before the healing, it would reopen the wound. If the promotion came before the character was strengthened, it would become a temptation instead of a testimony. My child, I am not cruel in my timing. I am careful. I am not slow because I lack power. I am deliberate because I know the outcome. I know you have wondered why the door did not open when you first prayed. I know you thought the healing would have been faster. I know you thought the divorce would have ended cleanly. The job interview would have led somewhere. The diagnosis would have been easier to bear. The relationship would have been restored. The dream would have arrived before your hope grew weary. But I saw what was attached to each possible outcome. I saw what would have happened if I had given you the thing before you were ready. And because I love you, I withheld what would have harmed you even if it looked like the answer you wanted. My child, you have been in a season where hidden foundations were being laid. Deep work, quiet work, uncelebrated work. The kind of work no one praises because no one sees it. The kind of work that looks like waiting, but is actually strengthening. The kind of work that looks like nothing, but is everything. While you were grieving, I was teaching your heart how to survive without losing tenderness. While you were praying through uncertainty, I was teaching your spirit how to recognize my voice above the noise. While you were feeling the pressure of not knowing what comes next, I was shaping the inner stability you will need when the next chapter begins. Some of you are thinking, but I am too broken for that. I am too tired. I am too behind. No, beloved, you are not behind. You are not disqualified by the years you lost, the money you lost, the trust you lost, or the tears you cried. You are not too broken for my hands. I specialize in restoring what life has damaged. I specialize in bringing beauty out of ruins. I specialize in speaking life into places that have been silent too long. The very areas you are ashamed of are often the places where my glory will shine most clearly. Think about the sleepless nights, my child. Those long hours when your body begged for rest, but your mind refused to stop. Those nights when you stared at the ceiling and replayed every conversation, every mistake, every warning sign, every unanswered prayer. I was there in those hours. When you felt too tired to keep hoping, I was holding what hope remained. When fear made your thoughts spiral, I was near enough to steady your soul. When loneliness made you feel invisible, I was sitting beside you in the dark. Beloved, you were never truly alone, even when the silence felt thick enough to touch. And I need you to understand this too. The delay was not only about protection from the wrong thing. It was also about making sure you would not mistake desperation for direction. There are times when I allow the waiting to continue until the urgency inside you has been softened enough to hear me clearly again. Because urgency can drown out wisdom. Pain can distort perspective. Exhaustion can make a counterfeit look like a blessing simply because it arrives when you feel empty. I would rather you wait a little longer and enter with discernment than rush ahead and get entangled in something that would drain you for years. Beloved, there is something I need you to know before I say anything else. The very thing you thought was holding you back has been training you for what is coming next. The pressure has been preparing your endurance. The uncertainty has been sharpening your discernment. The loss has been stripping away false security. The silence has been teaching you how to listen. The heartbreak has been breaking your dependence on human approval. What looked like a setback was, in so many places, a setup for deeper readiness. You may not feel ready yet. That is all right. Many of the people I used in Scripture did not feel ready when I first called them. Moses did not feel ready. Jeremiah did not feel ready. Mary did not feel ready. Gideon did not feel ready. Readiness is not always a feeling. Sometimes readiness is the result of being stretched, refined, corrected, and taught until your spirit can hold what I am placing in your hands. You are closer than you think, my child. Closer than the tears would suggest. Closer than the setbacks would imply. Closer than the enemy wants you to believe. I know some of you have been asking, then why did it have to hurt so much? Because, beloved, pain has a way of exposing what comfort keeps hidden. It reveals what your heart attached itself to. It reveals what you were leaning on. It reveals what could not sustain you. It reveals how much of your peace was tied to outcomes instead of to me. That revelation is not meant to shame you. It is meant to free you. If you cannot see what is carrying your heart, you cannot surrender it. If you cannot see the false foundation, you cannot let it be replaced. The pain, as hard as it is to admit, has been uncovering what needed to be uncovered so you could be healed at the root. There are many of you who have built your life around survival mode for so long that peace feels unfamiliar now. When things go quiet, you do not know how to rest because your nervous system expects the next problem. When someone is kind, you wait for the other shoe to drop. When a door begins to open, you brace for it to slam. My child, that is what repeated disappointment does when it is not brought to me. It teaches the body to fear relief. It teaches the heart to distrust goodness. But I am retraining you. Slowly, tenderly, faithfully, I am showing you that peace does not have to be suspicious. Goodness does not have to be temporary. My provision does not have to come with hidden strings. Some of you have had to go through public loss. Everyone saw it. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone thought they knew what happened. But they did not see the private nights. They did not see the tears. They did not see the letters you wrote and never sent. They did not see the moments you sat in your car, hands on the steering wheel, trying not to fall apart before walking back into the room. My child, I saw all of it. And because I saw all of it, I am telling you that your private endurance has not gone unnoticed. The world often celebrates visible victory, but I celebrate faithful survival. I celebrate every time you chose not to give up. I celebrate every time you kept praying while afraid. I celebrate every time you got up and kept moving even though your heart was still in pieces. Do you remember the parts of your story that made no sense at the time? The appointment that got canceled. The offer that fell through. The move that did not happen. The friendship that faded. The opportunity that seemed to vanish at the last second. You thought perhaps you misheard me. You thought perhaps you had missed your chance. But what if those interruptions were not proof of failure? What if they were the mercy of a father who saw the full picture? My child, I know the outcomes you cannot see. I know the dangers attached to some paths. I know the blessing attached to others. And I know exactly why I delayed one thing while accelerating another. There are hidden injuries in your life that only waiting could expose. If the rush had continued, you would have carried unresolved pain into the next assignment. If the pressure had lifted too early, you might never have learned the difference between my peace and emotional relief. If the truth about certain people had not surfaced, you could have stayed bound to their approval. So yes, what felt like delay was preparation. What felt like being stuck was often being shielded. What felt like being forgotten was often being trained. Beloved, I am bringing your heart to a place where it will no longer be controlled by panic. That matters more than you know. Because when panic controls a person, everything becomes urgent. Decisions become impulsive. Faith becomes fragile. Discernment becomes clouded. And the enemy loves that state because it makes people trade long-term blessing for short-term relief. But I am teaching you how to stand, how to breathe before reacting, how to pray before deciding, how to wait without falling apart, how to let my timing silence the voice that says, "Do something now or you will lose everything." I know that voice. It has been loud in your life. It sounds like fear. It sounds like financial pressure. It sounds like the memory of a betrayal. It sounds like a diagnosis. It sounds like the fear of being alone forever. It sounds like the dread of starting over. It sounds like the thought that maybe your best days are behind you. Beloved, that voice is not the final word. It is a liar that has been overworking your mind. I am calling you back into truth, back into steadiness, back into trust, not blind trust, rooted trust, the kind that says, even if I do not understand the route, I know the guide. You have seen enough of human instability to know how fragile worldly promises can be. A job can disappear. A marriage can crack. A body can weaken. A friend can turn. Money can come and go. But I do not change. I do not fail. I do not forget. And I do not lose track of the ones I love. So when I say that preparation has been taking place beneath the surface, I mean it. Your delay was not empty. It was full of hidden mercy. It was full of correction. It was full of refinement. It was full of strengthening. It was full of my presence, even when your feelings told you otherwise. There is a quietness I want you to enter now, my child. Just for a moment, let the noise fall away. The commentary, the accusations, the self-blame, the what-ifs, the imagined conversations, the dread. Just let it all go quiet. Breathe in, breathe out. You are here. I am here. The story is not over. The revelation is still unfolding. And the thing that looked like a dead season is being shown for what it really was, a chamber of preparation. I know that may not be the answer your pain expected. Pain wants immediate relief. Pain wants instant reversal. Pain wants a dramatic rescue that erases every bruise. But my wisdom works deeper than that. I am not only rescuing you from outcomes that would have harmed you. I am rescuing you from a mindset that would have made you unable to receive the blessing once it arrived. If you had been given everything while still ruled by fear, you might have lost it trying to protect it. If you had received the promise while still attached to the wrong people, you might have handed your peace to them again. So I waited. I worked. I refined. I prepared. And now you are beginning to see why. The very things that almost broke you have been forging a stronger faith. The very disappointments you thought would finish you have been teaching you how to stand when life is not fair. The very losses that made you question my goodness are becoming the evidence of my careful hand. Beloved, I am not minimizing your pain. I am redeeming it. I am showing you that it was never meaningless. Nothing surrendered to me is wasted. Nothing endured with me is forgotten. Nothing hidden from others is hidden from me. So keep listening. Keep breathing. Keep your heart open to what I am revealing. The next layer will show you how closely I have been preparing the road ahead, and why the thing you called delay was one of the greatest mercies I ever gave you. My child, now I need you to lean in close, because I am bringing this to the place where clarity meets courage. You have heard me speak about the revealing. You have heard me speak about the delay, the traps, the fear, the pressure, the hidden work. But there is another layer, beloved, and I do not want you to miss it. What is being uncovered around you is also being uncovered for you. That means the truth is not only exposing what was against you, it is also exposing what I placed within you that you forgot was there. Strength you did not know you had. Wisdom that came through the fire. Discernment sharpened by tears. Endurance that survived what should have crushed you. And more than that, it is exposing the fact that I never lost track of my promise over your life. You may have thought the promise was suspended. I tell you it was preserved. You may have thought it was delayed beyond usefulness. I tell you it was being guarded from premature hands. You may have thought the dream had been buried. I tell you it was being watered beneath the surface where no one could steal it. My child, I do not speak empty comfort over you. I speak covenant. I speak truth. I speak the same kind of faithful promise I spoke when I told my people that no weapon formed against them would prosper. Not because weapons would never form, but because they would never prevail against the purpose I wrote. So hear me now, and let these promises settle over your spirit like oil. I am your refuge and your fortress. I am your shepherd, and you shall not want. I restore your soul. I lead you beside still waters when your mind has known too much turbulence. I prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies, and I do not need your enemies' permission to bless you. I am the God who works all things together for good for those who love me and are called according to my purpose. That includes the things that hurt. That includes the betrayals. That includes the job loss, the sleepless nights, the medical report, the divorce papers, the conversation that broke your heart, the season when money was short and hope felt thinner than breath. Beloved, I am not asking you to pretend the pain did not happen. I am declaring that the pain will not have the final word. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. I have seen the crushing. I have seen the places where your tears seem to drain your strength. And I tell you this with tenderness and power. I am close to you right there. Not when you feel strong only. Not when your prayers sound polished only. Right there in the trembling. Right there in the uncertainty. Right there in the silence after the bad news. Right there in the room where your heart has been trying to survive. I want to speak specifically over those of you who have been betrayed by people you never expected to hurt you. My child, I am the God who exposes hidden counsel. I am the God who turns the counsel of the wicked back upon itself. I am the God who reveals the concealed and brings truth into daylight. The trap that was set in secret cannot remain covered when I decide it is time. Do not fear the exposure. It is not your destruction. It is your deliverance. I will untangle what was knotted against you. I will bring clarity where there was confusion. I will make the crooked path straight. And I will teach your hands to recognize my peace again, so you do not mistake manipulation for love ever again. I want to speak over those of you who are worried about finances. My child, I know the numbers that have kept you up at night. I know the bills on the counter. I know the way your chest tightens when you open the mailbox. I know the fear of looking at your future and seeing what seems too little to cover too much. But I am Jehovah Jireh, your provider. The earth is mine and the fullness thereof. The silver and the gold belong to me. I am able to supply all your need according to my riches and glory in Christ Jesus. That does not mean I always move in the timing your fear demands. It means I never abandon the ones I call. I do not ask you to worship money, chase money, or panic over money. I ask you to trust me enough to obey me, because I can bless what hands of fear cannot manage. And to the one who feels like your body has been fighting you, I am speaking peace over your health. I know the pain you try to minimize. I know the exhaustion you hide. I know the appointments, the medications, the uncertainty, the long waiting rooms, the scans, the sleepless pain, the breath you had to catch because your body did not feel like it belonged to you anymore. My child, I am the Lord who heals you. I am near to the sick and the weary. I am able to strengthen you in weakness, to sustain you in the long road, to give wisdom to the doctors, to guide each diagnosis, and to hold your heart steady when fear tries to seize it. I am not asking you to deny what you feel. I am asking you to refuse agreement with despair. And to the one walking through divorce, separation, or the deep grief of a broken covenant, I see the tears that come from the loss of what you thought would last. I see the confusion of loving someone and no longer being able to trust what they say. I see the pain of a home divided, of plans shattered, of holidays changed, of routines that remind you what is missing. Beloved, I am near to the wounded in marriage, near to the parent carrying the burden alone, near to the one rebuilding after the papers were signed and the house felt too quiet. I am not ashamed of your grief. I am not repelled by your questions. I am not intimidated by the scale of your loss. I can restore dignity, peace, and a future you did not think was possible. But there is something I need you to know before I speak further. The place where you feel weakest is often the place where my power is about to be most clearly seen. The area that seemed to expose your limitations is the very area I am preparing to reveal my strength. The exact thing you were most afraid would be the end of you is becoming the place where you will testify that I brought you through. That means your story is not merely a survival story. It is becoming a testimony of divine intervention. People will look back and say the hand of the Lord was on that one all along. Some of you have been waiting on doors that seemed locked for years. You have done all you knew to do. You have prayed, fasted, applied, sought counsel, updated the resume, sent the message, made the call, kept showing up, and still the answer felt delayed. Beloved, I see it. But I also see the road ahead. I am the one who opens doors no man can shut, and I am the one who shuts doors no man can force open. The timing you resented was preparing the conditions for the opening. There are rooms I had to clear. There were voices I had to quiet. There were motives I had to reveal. There were dependencies I had to remove so you would not mistake a partial blessing for the fullness of what I intended. Let me say it plainly. I am not only a God of rescue. I am a God of order. I do not bless chaos as though it were destiny. I do not reward compromise as though it were faith. I do not ignore the conditions of your heart. I prepare you before I position you. That is why this season has felt so intense. That is why the revealing had to happen now. The false could not remain if the true was to stand. The counterfeit had to be exposed so you would not carry it into your next. The delay had to stretch your faith so you would recognize my voice when I finally moved. So I am declaring over you what my word has already declared. You will not be consumed by the fire. You will not drown in the waters. You will not be overtaken by the snare. You will not be abandoned in the wilderness. You will not be left without wisdom. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given. Ask me, my child. Ask me for discernment before the conversation. Ask me for peace before the decision. Ask me for courage before the next step. Ask me for patience when the waiting feels heavy. Ask me for the ability to see people and situations through the lens of truth rather than fear. I am declaring that your steps are being ordered even when the road feels hidden. I am declaring that the righteous may fall 7 times and rise again, because I do not measure you by your bruises. I am declaring that when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. I am declaring that the peace I give you is not like the peace the world gives. It will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus when everything around you tries to unravel. I am declaring that what the enemy meant for evil, I am turning for good. Not a smaller good, a real good, a restoring good, a testimony good, a kingdom good. And I know there are moments when these promises feel far away because you are still standing in the middle of what hurt you. But promises are not weakened by your current view. They stand because I stand. My child, when I said I would never leave you nor forsake you, I meant it on the day you were betrayed. I meant it when the doctor called. I meant it when the bank account looked empty. I meant it when the marriage broke. I meant it when the job disappeared. I meant it when you sat alone and cried until your body had no more strength to shake. I meant it then, and I mean it now. There are hidden blessings inside this season that you have not yet recognized. I have used this time to pull you away from voices that would have misled you. I have used it to teach you how to live from my presence instead of from other people's opinions. I have used it to reveal the difference between being wanted and being valued. I have used it to show you which relationships were built on convenience and which were built on covenant. I have used it to deepen your roots so the next storm will not uproot you as easily. This is why the enemy fought so hard. He knew the shaking would expose what he had buried. He knew your silence would not last forever. He knew the light was coming. So, my child, keep your eyes on me. Not on the accusation. Not on the timing of others. Not on the one who misunderstood you. Not on the person who walked away. Not on the fear of being alone again. Keep your eyes on me. I am the author and finisher of your faith. I am the one who began a good work in you, and I am faithful to complete it. I do not begin what I will not finish. I do not call what I will not carry. I do not uncover what I will not heal. I do not prune what I will not grow. If I allowed the revealing, it is because your restoration is tied to it. And now I want to bring you into the quiet place where prayer can rise from the deepest part of you. If you are able, set aside every distraction for a moment. Let your spirit be still before me. I am going to pray over you now, and I want these words to wrap around your heart like a blanket of holy peace. My child, I thank you for the one listening right now, the one whose heart has been bruised by disappointment, whose nights have been filled with worry, whose hands have been trembling under the weight of too many unanswered questions. Father, I see them. I know them. I love them. And I ask you now to pour out upon them a fresh measure of wisdom from heaven. Give them wisdom that is pure, peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruit. Give them discernment to know what is from you and what is not. Give them the ability to recognize the voice of fear and refuse it. Give them the courage to stop chasing what cannot satisfy and to wait for what only you can provide. Lord, I pray protection over their mind. Guard them from spiraling thoughts in the middle of the night. Guard them from replaying old wounds until they can no longer think clearly. Guard them from lies that sound like their own voice but are really the enemy's accusation. Let the helmet of salvation cover their thoughts. Let the shield of faith rise up against every dart of doubt, every dart of dread, every dart of self-condemnation. When the mind says, "You are forgotten," remind them, "I have engraved you on the palms of my hands." When fear says, "This will never change," remind them that with God all things are possible. Father, protect them from hidden harm. Protect them from manipulative people, deceptive conversations, and doors that appear good but lead to captivity. Expose the snare before they step into it. Close every path that would entangle them in confusion. Make them sensitive to the promptings of the Holy Spirit. Let them feel the check in their spirit and honor it. Let them not be ashamed to move slowly when you say slow. Let them not be pressured by people who do not carry the weight of their consequence. Give them the grace to wait without panic and to walk without fear. Jesus, I pray courage over them. Many of them have been living with an outward strength that hides inward trembling. They have been brave in public and broken in private. They have made hard decisions while their hearts were hurting. They have endured more than others know. Now, Lord, breathe courage into them again. Not loud, performative courage. Quiet courage. Steady courage. The courage to have the conversation. The courage to set the boundary. The courage to say no. The courage to say yes when you open the way. The courage to believe that one bad chapter does not cancel the rest of the story. The courage to get up one more time. Father, I pray for breakthrough. Break through the cycles that have repeated in their family line. Break through the fear that has followed them from childhood. Break through the financial pressure that has made them feel trapped. Break through the grief that has sat on their chest like a stone. Break through the shame that keeps whispering that they should have known better. Break through the heaviness that settles over them in the afternoon and tries to steal their hope. Break through every spiritual attack sent to wear them down. Let chains fall. Let heavy yokes break. Let doors open. Let resources come. Let peace flood the places that have known unrest. Lord, I pray healing over their heart. Heal the part that learned to expect betrayal. Heal the part that shut down after disappointment. Heal the part that still flinches when someone gets too close. Heal the part that has been ashamed of tears. Heal the part that is angry but afraid to admit it. Heal the part that wonders if they were ever truly loved. Replace the ache with assurance. Replace the confusion with clarity. Replace the fear of abandonment with the comfort of your presence. Teach them that your love does not run out, does not waver, does not disappear, does not manipulate, does not use, does not abandon. Father, I pray for those dealing with illness. Strengthen the body. Renew energy. Ease pain. Steady the heart during medical uncertainties. Give wisdom to every doctor, nurse, caregiver, and specialist involved. Let what needs to be seen clearly. Let what needs to be treated well. Let hope rise where fear has tried to settle. And in every waiting room, in every hallway, in every appointment, let them sense that they are not there alone. Be their shepherd through the valley. Lord, I pray for those facing loss. The loss of a marriage, the loss of a home, the loss of a job, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a dream that mattered deeply. Wrap them in your compassion. Let them grieve honestly without drowning in hopelessness. Give them daily bread for daily needs. Show them the next step, then the next. Do not overload them with tomorrow when you have grace for today. Restore what can be restored. Redeem what was stolen. Rebuild what was broken. And if some things cannot be restored in the old form, give them the peace to trust the new thing you are making. Father, I pray over the one who has been doubting their own discernment. Restore confidence in the quiet witness of the Holy Spirit. Teach them that intuition filtered through your presence is a gift, not a flaw. Give them a healthy, holy confidence that does not need to defend itself constantly. Let them walk in truth without arrogance and in humility without self-erasure. Teach them how to hear you in Scripture, in prayer, in the counsel of the wise, and in the peace that settles when they are aligned with your will. And now, Lord Jesus, I ask you to touch the lonely places, the places where they sit at the edge of the bed and feel no one understands, the places where they keep going because they have no choice, the places where they have spoken to you through tears more than words. Let them feel your nearness right now. Let the room change with your presence. Let the heaviness lift. Let the chest loosen. Let the breath deepen. Let a holy calm begin to spread. Not because all problems are gone in this moment, but because your nearness is enough to hold them until the next step arrives. Father, I also pray for vindication where there has been accusation. You see what they could not prove. You know what they could not explain. You understand what was twisted against them. Be their defender. Speak for them where their voice has been dismissed. Expose what needs exposing in your perfect timing. Vindicate them without them having to fight in the flesh. Teach them to let you be God while they rest in your justice. And finally, Lord, I pray for faith that survives the waiting. Not shallow faith, rooted faith. Faith that says, even here, God is good. Faith that says, even now He is working. Faith that says, even if I do not see it yet, His promise stands. Faith that can endure a long night because it knows morning is coming. Faith that can stand in the face of delay and still worship. Faith that can walk through the valley and not lose its song. Give them that kind of faith, Jesus. Make them unshakable in you. My child, I am not done with your story. I am not finished with your healing. I am not late on my promise. I am not blind to your tears. I am not powerless against what has been done. I am with you, and I am for you. And I am leading you into the place where what was hidden becomes the doorway to freedom. The revealing is not the end. It is the beginning of the end for the thing that tried to keep you bound. So rise in peace. Stand in truth. Walk in courage. And remember this. I did not bring you this far to leave you under the weight of what I already saw. I am the Lord who reveals, restores, and reigns. Beloved, you are not forgotten. You are being prepared.